Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today is the day we are painting. I don't like painting. I don't like rust even more, so we're painting. So the plan is we're going to grind all of our welds that we don't like to make them a little prettier, because grinder and paint make me the welder I ain't. I believe that's how it goes. So we're going to grind a bunch of the welds I don't like, get them smoother, make them look better. Then we are going to take a wire wheel and we're going to hit all this metal, all this rust, knock it off. And then we are going to take some acetone, wipe it all down, and then we have to paint it. I got this self-etching primer. It's kind of acidic, so it should help get in that metal. But we need to get this going because we want to get our lights mounted, our hitch or our ball coupler on. So I want to get this going. So with everything scuffed up and roughed up, it's now time to wipe it all down with acetone, and then we're painting. Let's get to it. Everything has been wiped with acetone, so we are ready to paint. We have taped a straight line down our tubing because when we put our walls on, they're going to go right in the center, and that way we can not have to grind away paint to weld. We may have some overspray on here, but I'm not too worried about it. I can scuff it up later. It's just not worth it. So we're going to get started on the underside. I do have to get the wheels and tires off to paint the inside here. I don't know if I'll get to that tonight because it's already 9:30. We're working late. What it is, but our hoist here is working great. We're gonna get started. We're gonna use this self-etching primer, and I think it's like 2 to 3 coats. Yeah, it says 2 to 3 thin coats, and it says to wait like 2 minutes between coats. So if we start in one corner and work our way up, we'll be ready to hit that corner again by the time we're done. So we're gonna do probably 3 coats of light primer. We're gonna get some ventilation going, get our respirator, get your PPE, always wear your PPE. Yeah, here's another time lapse because you're gonna watch paint dry. Honestly, it looks pretty good. We went with this Rust-Oleum protective enamel, this glossy black, because glossy is blacker than if you go with like a matte or satin. And I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks pretty good. So we did 2 coats on all exposed material, so the bottom side, the outsides here, and then on the inside we just did touch up. I prefer rolling it on. It was less of a mess, and we got a more consistent finish. So we're gonna see durability wise how this holds up, but I think it looks really good. So now we're gonna move on to our walls. one wall completely done except for the horizontal pieces of the top and bottom of the door, but those are coming at a later date because it's late already. It's dark outside. But we're going to do the other wall real quick. We're going to just put it on top of here and basically copy and paste it. So once we're done with that, we're going to look at putting it on the trailer. I don't know if we'll get to that tonight, but for you, it'll be next. Wall 1 successful. It's bowing a bit, but that's okay. So now we're going to do the other side, and then hopefully we can straighten it out. So it actually comes out perfectly. If you look, it's flush there. It's nice and flush here. It's amazing what happens when we measure and cut right. With our walls on, it's now time to start putting on our cross braces. So we have one down here, which we're going to start with at 58.5. So we're going to tack that in place. Next one will be here. That is 31.5 inches up from this one. And then we have one up here at the top of our, I don't know, apex, whatever you want to call that. And then we have them across the top. So we have our bottom one tack welded in. We have our middle one here tack welded on. But if you look down this line, there's kind of a slight curve to this top metal piece because the metal supplier place apparently didn't care to keep this stuff relatively straight. So I think I'm gonna have to take these ratchet straps I've got and squeeze this in once I put these others in so that these don't bend, but this one flexes in. So back here we have our rear piece tacked in, and our next one is going to be 22 and 3/16 across. So from here to the inside face, the next one's gonna be 22 and 3/16, and we're gonna get that one done. And then we have 3 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the top. Guys, the walls are on. The roof is tacked on. We need to do some horizontal supports for our doors and windows, but we'll get to that. We need to do the rest of our front verticals here and our front angled pieces, so we're going to get that going real quick. And then we need to weld the walls to the trailer. They're just clamped on right now. I need to remeasure everything and then weld it down. And if you look up here, I don't know if you can tell in camera, but it's definitely straightened out. Yeah, that ratchet strap idea really worked well. Let's get these front verticals on, front angles on, and then we'll move on to doors and windows. Top to bottom here to there is 31.5 inches. This angled piece here with our new crossbar here is 21 inches right here, and probably 20 and 15/16, but I'm just going to shave it down with a 45-degree angle because those are easiest to cut. We're going to get all these put on, and then we're going to work on our horizontals for the doors and windows. Our first vertical slash first angled are going to be 14 inches off of each side, and then the middle one is going to be obviously, dead center. But 14 inches, 14 inches, and then it comes out to 14 something. Verticals and angles are on. These came out to 31.5, and these were 21. They stick up just a bit, so probably 20 and 15/16 or 7/8, something like that. I'm gonna trim it down with the grinder and be done with that. Now we're gonna weld our walls to our trailer, and this is gonna be pretty simple. We're just gonna run some beads down this entire line. Not going to go the entire way because that's a ridiculous amount of weld, but maybe 5 or 6 inch or 2 long down the way along with the front, and then we'll get to the back and I'll show you my plans for the back. But we want to make sure that this is still perfect with our 1/4 inch. It looks down there that it's a little warped out, so we can tuck it in. But back here, this is about what we want right here, because we want to be able to set our wall panel on and then fold it up to make it easier on how we mount it. Then we have to clean all this metal and paint it. Walls are welded to the trailer. These welds came out pretty good for the most part. Only issue I had was right here. I blew through the 16 gauge, but other than that, these welds pretty a-okay. And now for the real test. Grab this. I don't know if you can see, but the whole trailer's wiggling, which is perfect. This thing is nice and sturdy. It's good to see. Good to see. Now time to get the horizontal pieces done for the doors and windows. Both sides of our doors are done. We got top and bottom piece. Now it's onto these windows, and the windows, they're pretty simple. We're just gonna keep this in line with the door. So we're gonna put one more piece across here, exactly 6 inches. That lines up with this, so the top of our window matches the top of our door. These are relatively large windows, so they give us quite a bit of area where we can see out, see in, no big deal. And then once we get our top on, we put the window on, and we can just come from behind and put our bottom piece on. Now with our windows basically laid out, done, we now get to start on the next thing, which is grinding slash cleaning all the walls. So how we're gonna mount our walls is with this VHB tape, because it works really well and it's easy to apply. So I'm gonna grind away just all this mill scale here on all the outside walls, and we're gonna lay this down on clean bare metal, and then we can come back and spray paint over it. So like I said, none of this metal is going to be exposed to the elements, so it's not crucial we get like a huge good paint job on it like we did with these, because these are looking really good. But that's going to take a bit, and it's not going to be very exciting to watch. So let me do that real quick. Bunch of this double-sided adhesive tape later. All our outside exterior walls are done. We still have to do the roof, but we're getting to that eventually, and we have to do the floor. As you can see, we still need to clean things up before we can do the floor. We need to paint, whole shebang, still a lot to go. For our wall panels, I threw it up on the trailer, clamped it down in place, and then used a router with a flush trim bit get a perfect angle, and this worked out really well. This aluminum is very easy to cut, it just makes a big mess. Now for the window holes, I went on the backside, drilled some points on where the start of the curvature of my window was, and then used my frame again with the flush bit so that I have perfect lines. I just found it easier to use the template I already made. Now I did the same thing with the door, drilled my holes, went on the backside, used the router along my metal tracks again. And to be honest, I didn't do a great job cutting these out. I could have done better, but I just didn't for some reason. I kind of sucked at doing this part. So if you're doing this, just be more diligent than I was. These sheets are about 80 bucks a piece, so they're not exactly cheap, but just take your time and line it up better. Now it was the same process with the doors of just marking it out then following it with the router. I will be honest, I kind of messed up. As you can see, I don't have perfect holes, but these doors and windows both have a large enough flange where you can be pretty wrong about it, and as long as you're close, it's going to be covered. And once you're done with one wall, you move on to the next, copy and paste. Now I recommend long sleeves because this aluminum throws shards of aluminum, very fine shards, and hot rubber when you're cutting through it, so I recommend you kind of use some protection. But it's the same thing, take your router along, cut the window holes, cut the door holes, rinse and repeat. And this is my example of where I said be careful and be more diligent than I was, because while cutting my window I apparently forgot how to use my eyes and I made a really bad cut. I mean, look at this. I apparently forgot how corners and radiuses work, but thankfully the flange on the window is so big it still covers it. Wall panels are cut, both sides. Now our back door, I want to do something unique, which I've not seen before on a square drop trailer, as I want this entire back door to swing open. Now eventually, the idea is that you could put a kitchen back here and cook out of it with protection from this door from the rain or sun or whatever, just protection. And then the other idea is with this opening fully, this all of a sudden becomes a 5x8 storage trailer because it's about 4 feet tall, so we have plenty of room to work with. So if I'm going to pick up a couch or anything, I can use this trailer because I like things that are useful, and if this trailer can be a camper trailer and a utility trailer, that's incredibly useful. So we have to get started on that back door, but that's going to be for next week. With our roof vent cutouts installed, we are almost ready to actually start painting. We have one more thing to do because we have this bare metal, and we have to put on our rear door weather stripping back plate. I don't even know what to call it. Let me show you. So to make sure our back door seals, this is what we're using. This is 3/4 inch angle iron, 1/8 inch thick. And how it's going to work is we have it along the bottom here. We're going to do it along the sides and the top. I've notched out this angle iron here. So when you put this on, nest it up just like this, and it creates that nearly perfect seal. So I get to weld all this together, make sure there's no leaks. We'll probably caulk it at some point just to guarantee it, but it'll be the same on top and on that side, so that when our door opens and shuts, it hits this, and we'll put weather stripping here, and that way it's enclosed and sealed. Now we're going to be using 1/2 inch square tubing to nest into here so that it all fits nice and smoothly. So I'm going to get these welded on, and once these are welded on, we're ready to paint. And just like that, everything's pretty painted. All our 3M tape here is painted on the outside. We put the tape first so it adheres to bare metal, and then we paint it so that, you know, we're getting everything, no exposed metal. We do have some spots we need to touch up here and there with spray paint, which I knew would happen. It's just there's a lot of different corners and crevices, and then, you know, sometimes you just miss everything completely. So overall, it looks pretty good. We're gonna touch up, but after this, it's time to put the floor on. It's time to do our lights and wiring, put the walls on, put our roof on, our front panel. We got a lot of cutting. It shouldn't take too long. And then we have this back door to make, which this part is going to take me a while because we are fabricating this completely. So with all this said and done, I know this was a longer episode. We got a lot done. Of course, it's been a couple weeks, and I was sick for the first one, so I didn't record as much as I should have. We're gonna make a lot of progress here shortly, so stick around because it's gonna turn into a trailer, a camper trailer, really quickly. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.